Hello and welcome back for another video on ARK Survival Ascended and to another modded creature showcase, where I will be showcasing 5 brand new creature mods that have released in the past few weeks. Yes, another already. November has really been a great month for creature mods, and one in particular I am extremely excited about checking out today, which literally just dropped a few days ago. All creature mods can be played cross-platform, 4 are free, while the other is premium. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Kicking things off with a peculiar mod, and not normally one I would usually tend to go for when choosing mods to showcase. This is Frost Trilobite Rework, which comes from Frost Let's Play, giving those little creepy crawly sea dwellers a purpose other than just being killed for their goodies. The mod replaces all vanilla trilobites sharing the same spawn locations, for example shallow waters and the ocean bed. There is also a replacement for the aberrant trilobite too, and yes, they can be tamed passively at that, preferring simple kibble from your final hotbar slot for the best taming effectiveness, or can be tamed with any type of meat. Once tamed, it acts as a shoulder pet, kind of fits very nicely on the survivor, I must say. Almost looks like a backpack, have you will. Speaking of backpacks, it does act as one due to it being a shoulder pet, giving anything inside its inventory 50% weight reduction when carried by the player. Appearance wise, there's zero difference, but Frost version does have new color regions and are breedable, so you can have a bit of fun with that. This definitely makes them somewhat prettier as opposed to the old brown town over there on the left. So it does have a unique ability that can potentially make it the new man and woman's best friend. When on your shoulder, it will give the survivor full immunity to stun and dismounting attacks. This includes those pesky microraptors and even the jellyfish. You will never have to fear these annoying creatures ever again. The aberrant variant is stated to give the survivor radiation immunity, but unfortunately that doesn't seem to be working as intended, as my guy was out here taking it like a champ. Other than that, it's a lovely little mod that finally gives the trilobite a nice bit of utility. Up next, we make a return to Cammy's Feral Critters mod pack to showcase the Camaryllosaurus. We did fully showcase the other 3 creatures from this mod in my previous new creature mod spotlight video, but anyway, the Camaryllosaurus, as expected, is another beautiful addition to the pack, which is said to be a minuscule Spinosaurid. But don't let that fool you, these cute little guys are fully passive. Or at least one of them is, as just like many of the other creatures in this pack, the Camaryllosaurus comes in 2 different variants. However, there is a big difference between the two. The common variant is a tiny version and is a shoulder pet, whereas the second is an aberrant variant, which is still small, however it is rideable, which is really cool. So the common variant spawns around the beaches and inland shallow waters on most maps, and the aberrant variant spawns in the green zone and in shallow waters. Tamed passively, I guess, where you will need to bowler it to temporarily immobilize it, and feed passively with any type of meat or simple kibble for the best taming effectiveness from your final hotbar slot. Rinse and repeat until tamed, although I did have to force tame mine as their food stat wasn't dropping at all, and kept resetting to full with every bowler, so maybe I'm doing something wrong or it's a bug. I'm not really sure, so please do let me know in the comments if you know. Moving on to the aberrant variant, which is tamed in a similar fashion. However, they are aggressive, so do be wary of that. You will need some more bowlers up your sleeve for this one, but this time you'll need to aim the bowler directly into its mouth, which will temporarily immobilize it. And when it is bowlered, tranquilizing weaponry can be used to knock it out, just like any other knockout tame in the game. This taming process is awesome, man. Cammy has implemented quite a few unique taming methods for the other creatures in this pack, and I'm a big fan of them all. They are simple and easy to follow, and are not painfully annoying like some of the other unique taming methods that many vanilla creatures have. Anyway, once knocked out, it can eat any type of meat, but prefers regular kibble for the best results. Once tamed, the common variant works as a shoulder pet, and look how cute it is when it's perched on the player's shoulder. Oh, so cute. Anyway, it does have some unique perks up its sleeve, and will be the perfect companion for all those water lovers out there, as when the Camaryllosaurus is on your shoulder, it increases the base swimming speed of the player. It even has animations for this, where it kicks his feet and pushes the player forward. Oh, it's amazing, man. It's great to see all these modders implementing so many unique features to these creatures, and it really gives them some unique personality. Not only that, but it also gives the player the ability to turn into Superman, but underwater, which does have a short cooldown to balance things out a little. It also has the option via its radial menu to enable or disable a scare roar, and that is just about as intimidating as the mini Spino can get. However, this can be used underwater to scare away smaller threats like the piranha, for example, and can be used manually when using the wave emote, which works far more effectively than the auto roar anyway. It's a really nice touch, as we all know how annoying those piranhas can be when all we want to do is just simply cross the river in peace. And finally, it can also hold more than one of the same artifact inside its inventory, just like the otter can. Moving over to the aberrant variant, it can be saddled up at a low level of 18, and it shares similar stats to the raptor. However, it does have much better traveling capabilities, at least when it comes to versatility. Being a decent sprinter, agile, and unlike the raptor, is pretty nimble in the water, which to be honest would be an understatement, as it is excessively fast. A lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but dare I say it, it is too fast. It doesn't really feel smooth with the animations due to how rapid it is. Adding to that though, it also does not possess an oxygen stat, which makes it an extremely viable early game semi-aquatic mount. I just think it needs a slower swimming speed, maybe slightly slower than the baryonyx or around the same. It has a primary bite attack, dealing a decent amount of damage for its size, a secondary claw attack that deals slightly more damage, has a slower attack speed, and inflicts piercing damage. It receives the same hydration buff that the Spino receives when touching or submerged in water, which if you didn't know increases its melee damage by 15%, movement speed by 20%, health regeneration by 25%, and gives it a slightly better turning radius for the duration, which of course is constant in water or lasts for 30 seconds upon leaving the water. It's also got a cute little cosmetic roar, which is probably the politest roar I've ever seen from any carnivore in the game. But we're not done just yet, as there is also a small alpha variant that you can find inhabiting your world. These aren't tanky like the usual alphas, but right now doesn't seem to serve any purpose other than looking cute and maybe acting as a pest for beach bobs, as it's super easy to kill and doesn't seem to drop any rewards as of now, so maybe that will change in future updates. What I will say is I did quite a few dino wipes on Aberration, and I could not see any aberrant variants spawning on the dino finder, which is very odd, so I did have to spawn in a wild one for the video to be able to tame it. So maybe the spawns need looking into for the mod in general, as none of the aberrant variants spawn for the other creatures in the pack either, so there's definitely a few kinks to iron out, but damn, I love this mod so much. And I'd go as far to say that it might actually be one of my favorite creature mod packs out there today. Speaking of awesome mods, let me introduce you to the TBS server cluster. They have both PvE and PvP no-wipe server clusters, both having boosted rates, with PvE featuring a long list of TBS mods and plugins, giving players a fun and immersive experience. If joining the PvP cluster, you'll be safe from harm with offline raid protection throughout the weekdays. Not only that, but they offer custom caves, huge cash dollar prizes, and many more exciting features to sink your teeth into. What's not to like? If you are interested in joining and finding out more, their Discord server are linked in the description of the video and in a pinned comment. Now let's get right back to the video. Moving on to the new and improved variant of Managama. This is the Tech Managama Ascended mod, which comes from ARK. You either love them or you hate them, and I'd confidently say that the Managama is hands down one of the most fun creatures to use in the game, and one of the best methods of traversing any map. So this tech variant will have a 10% chance to spawn on any maps alongside vanilla Managama spawns, and additionally as a rare spawn for mountain snow biomes on other maps. That is what it says in the mod description. I'm still yet to find any spawn on my island map server though. Tamed the exact same way as the vanilla mana through typical knockout methods, preferring exceptional kibble for the best taming effectiveness, but can also be tamed with any type of meat, and can be saddled up at level 66 using the vanilla saddle. Once tamed, you'll have one of the best traversal mounts in the game, jumping, dodging, ducking, dipping, and dashing through the air like you just don't care, as the tech mana has unlimited jump and dash count. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that will be a big fan of this change. More changes include an increased breath attack range and a lower food consumption when regaining stamina. It does state in the mod description that this is not aimed for PvP servers, and that it will never be changed to cater to it. So it is designed specifically for PvE, and I can assure you it is a lot of fun. I never knew how much I needed a tech mana in my life until now. So if you are a fan of the Managama, this mod is a must try for you. We now move on to the one and only premium mod on the list, which is the Stegotetrabelodon, a right tongue twister to pronounce quickly, which comes from Taran Kapala TVI and Cyrus Creates. The mod will set you back a sum of $5 which is currently at 50% off right now, along with a load of other premium mods, which is part of the Black Friday sale, which runs from the 28th to the 30th of November. And well, it appears to be some sort of giant elephant, which is stated in the mod description to be inspired by the Olifant font from Lord of the Rings, and we know how beastly those big boys are. Plus, if you watch my videos often, you'll probably know that the mammoth is one of my favorite creatures in the game, so I didn't have to be asked twice in checking this mod out. In the wild, you will encounter many different variants of these beasts, depending on the map you are playing. We'll dive into a little visual showcase in just a little bit, but you'll find them spawning in Ragnarok's Highlands and Desert, Scorched Earth Sand Dunes, Valgero's Tundra, and I did test them out on the island map, and at least 3 of the variants spawned in the jungles and grasslands around the central region, so although not mentioned in the mod description, I would say that they do spawn on all maps. As expected, these things are absolute monsters. They have more health in the wild than a wild Giga, and are around a similar size, but luckily they are fully passive unless provoked. The taming method is pretty much the same method as the Rock Elemental or Titanosaur, where you will need to smash it in the face with cannonballs to deal torpor, which it has a lot of, so you will need a good stash of cannonballs at the ready. Trapping them is definitely the way to go, as it would be an absolute nightmare to tame one without one. Once it goes sleepy time, it prefers extraordinary kibble for the best taming effectiveness, but can also be fed just like any other herbivore in the game. The dwarf variant has much lower health, so has a very high chance of dying, so having access to a snow owl can be a lifesaver. However, I did come across big issues when trying to tame these beasts. The torpor levels of it will never show, which is a little frustrating, so you just gotta trust the process. It tames perfectly fine in single player games, but I was almost pulling my hair out trying to tame this thing on my own servers. I tried taming all variants numerous times, but every time they got KO'd, there was never the option to access the inventory of the Stegotetra. So unless I'm missing something, it's physically impossible to tame them on servers right now. I even watched numerous videos online seeing others taming them just fine, whereas I was over here struggling to tame one for the life of me for hours on end. And it's most likely because everyone else was taming them in single player. So it is really a big issue and needs fixing as soon as possible. Once tamed, the regular saddle for the smaller variant can be unlocked at level 50, and the platform saddle for the larger variant unlocked at a whopping level 95. But it does also have numerous saddle attachments too that can be unlocked at a slightly higher level. A saddlebag attachment, which will decrease the weight of items inside its inventory, and a foot spike attachment that deals small reflective damage back to any attackers. The mod also adds a couple of new structures, including the iconic trebuchet. Once placing cannonballs inside, can be used as a portable siege weapon just like we see in many movies. What you don't see is it being left around floating in the air once you move your Stegotetrabelodon, so that's a new visual bug. Another one is the Whut, which is currently unfinished, and it does state in the mod description to not use it yet. This will be able to be placed down and will fire volleys of arrows at targets, so as expected, it has a number of deadly attacks at its disposal: a frontal stomp that deals hefty damage while also able to destroy stone structures, a tusk swipe that deals high damage and knockback, with both attacks capable of harvesting berries, small amounts of wood and thatch, and other collectibles. Pressing the jump key will deal a tusk jab, which inflicts a bleed effect to targets. This attack can also be used to harvest meat, hide, etc from carcasses, but the AoE of the attack is pretty bad and can't seem to hit smaller creatures. It does also have a rear kick attack that does 0 damage, so no idea what that's all about, and its final attack is a trunk grab. The larger variant can grab creatures up to the size of a Rex, while the dwarf can only pick up smaller creatures like the Parasaur. You'll have 2 options of attack when grabbing creatures: releasing it and yeeting it into next week, or just keeping it in this week and messing it up with those giant tusks. See ya! And of course, it would be rude not to charge into battle without performing a menacingly loud and intimidating trunk bellow. Oof, that looks absolutely terrifying. As mentioned earlier, you can find and tame numerous variants of the Stegotetrabelodon: the large variant, a tech variant, a dwarf variant, which is the aberration version and is much smaller, and a world boss variant known as the Flayed, which is an absolute monster and has a 5% chance to replace a herd of wild Stegotetrabelodons. The Flayed can spawn with up to a whopping 3 million health. Sadly, as of now, it can't be killed for any rewards whatsoever, which is a shame, so hopefully that all gets added soon. There is a couple of features that I think the Stegotetrabelodon desperately needs. The first being a turn on the spot type function to make it more satisfying to use, because it's a right pain in the bum fighting anything that gets behind it, due to the back kick not working. But with that being said, it should have this feature anyway, just as a quality of life. And the second being the ability to charge at its enemies. abilities. If it is really heavily inspired by the Mama Kill from Lord of the Rings, these beasts should definitely have the ability to charge. The Trunk Grab also has very bad usage registration and needs a much wider and smoother area of effect. It really is a massive struggle to pick up even the largest of creatures. Also, I did discover a unique feature. You can actually equip the saddlebags and foot armor to your player's feet and hand armor slots. This looks so silly. Look at me go. Don't worry about it, Snake. You keep on chasing me. I'm already gone with my extra weight boosts and ascendant feet spikes. Jokes aside, I am a little disappointed with this mod being premium. Having so many bugs and just not feeling polished. It is basically a night and day difference compared to the Hatzagopteryx premium mod we showcased in the previous video. So yeah, if you are contemplating buying this, I'd definitely wait for things to get fixed before buying this one. But with that being said, there's currently a sale on, so now might actually be the time to get it cheap. Fingers crossed all the bugs and glitches get fixed sooner rather than later. I do have faith in it because it's such a cool creature. It has so much potential, but sadly right now needs quite a lot of work still. And of course, we had to leave the best till last. That's right, Paleo ARK Evolution hard-hitting herbivores is finally here, which comes from Up From the Depths and the Paleo ARK team, which so far adds the extremely highly anticipated Evo Ferrozinosaurus to your ARK worlds. Oh yes, the Paleo Ferrozino enters the chat. I still can't believe it's actually here. It feels kind of unreal to finally see it come to the game. It's been in talks and development for such a long time now, but fair play to the team. They went full steam ahead with it after the Extra Life events and have smashed it out of the park in a crazy short amount of time. An endless amount of talent here with this team and plenty of well-known modders chipping in with each and every paleo mod, who have also given us many of their own creations, which are among some of the best creature mods to date in the world of ARK. I can safely say that the Paleo Ferry is probably the creature I've been most looking forward to when it comes to creature mods since the release of ARK Survival Ascended, so it is almost impossible to express how excited I am to finally be featuring it in one of these new creature showcase videos. Oh, look at the thing, man. I've always loved the Ferrozino for its power, but this paleo version looks like a whole different beast. Look at that imposing stance and menacing new look. It is outstanding. A lot larger than the vanilla version too. The mod pack currently only has the Ferrozino in it right now, but with future updates is stated to also add more beautiful herbivores later down the line, including the Gallimimus, the Ankylosaurus, the Parasaur, Patchy Rhino, and potentially more, as stated in the mod description, so I cannot wait for those. So with all that being said, the Evo Ferrozino will fully replace the vanilla Ferrozino and their spawn locations, so you'll find them on any maps where the Ferrozino naturally spawns. But as always with the paleo mods, if you for some reason did want to remove the mod, you do have the option to switch from the Evo version to the vanilla, or vice versa whenever you want to, through the option via its radial menu. An important thing to note is if you previously owned any vanilla ferries before installing the mod, and want to convert them to the Evo ferry, then you will need to cryo them up and throw them out again to see the option on the radial menu. The Evo Ferry is tamed the exact same way as its vanilla counterparts, through knockout taming methods and preferring exceptional kibble for the best taming effectiveness, or can be tamed with any type of berries, etc, etc. Their torpor levels do however drop much slower than the vanilla Ferry, which is very nice. Once tamed, wait for it, can be saddled up at level 69. And if you have any vanilla ferry saddles, head on over to your Evo Ferry and stick it in its inventory. Select the saddle, where you then have the option to convert the saddle to the Evo version. Once again, another lovely feature to make life easier for us all. And as expected with all Paleo ARK saddles, the saddle looks absolutely stunning. Look at all that detail, man. I wouldn't expect anything less from the Paleo team. The appearance, the attention to detail of its feathers, and everything else in between. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Paleo team are on a whole other level when it comes to creature development. The designs and movement animations of their creatures are always of the highest quality. Perfection really is the only word to describe each and every one. And it's going to be very interesting to see what Wildcard will do when it comes to the Ferry TLC, because this really sets the bar sky high. So in terms of stats and attacks, of course it is a herbivore powerhouse, sharing similar stats and damage as the T-Rex, able to dish out a hefty claw swipe attack, which after performing 2 in a row, can deal a third double swipe for extra damage output, which is performed when pressing the jump button. Also having a similar bite attack like the vanilla Ferry, which deals less damage and a slight amount of torpor. It does seem to have a quicker DPS though, which is nice. And finally its tickle attack, gotta love a good tickle when out and about. And as expected, it is still still a harvesting god, able to gather fiber, rare flowers, and other collectibles with its tickle, raw meat, wood, etc., etc. with its claw attacks, and finally berries, hide, chitin, and other collectibles with its bite. Not only that, but it also gives small weight reduction for any wood, fiber, and thatch inside its inventory, something I wish the vanilla Ferrazino had. It still has its own unique harvesting levels, where it will gain 1 harvesting level with each level up, which can of course be accessed via its radial menu, either leveling power or delicate harvesting for better efficiency in whichever field you choose to level. So of course there is many new attacks, abilities, and features to the Evo Fairy too, so it has this super intimidating roar. If they weren't already intimidating enough, well, they reach a whole other level with this roar. What an absolute beauty. It now has a turn in place option, and I mean the vanilla Fairy already has a good turning radius as it is, but this just makes it so much more satisfying to use. Speaking of turning radius, it can now use its primary claw attack to 180 on the spot when facing the camera left or right, which is a lovely addition. This also deals the same amount of damage as the finishing double claw swipe attack. When ridden and holding the reload button, the Evo Fairy has a bunch of new options to choose from. Firstly, it can sit down. Oh, so cute. The second option is the sharpen. This is where the fairy proceeds to sharpen its claws in preparation for an onslaught. This will increase its armor penetration by 2 times, which lasts for 20 seconds and has a 30-second cooldown. There is also an alpha variant that you can come across on your travels. Nothing like running into a beefed up one of these while out exploring, but you will be rewarded for your efforts with a bit of loot similar to any regular alpha variant in the game. Lovely jubbly. The Paleo Ferrazino is officially my favorite modded creature in the entire game, and I know I said that about the Hatzegopteryx in the last video, but the Ferrazino takes this one. It is honestly perfect in every way, and that's all there is to say. I really hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, share around, and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.